Welcome to Grace, Gratitude, and Giggles podcast, where women explore the art of living with everyday intention. I'm your host, Denise Marie Filmore, here to guide you through the powerful intersections of emotional experiences, brain science, and personal growth. Whether you're crafting new habits, setting transformative goals, or navigating significant life transitions, this podcast is your companion on the journey to a healthier, fuller, and richer life. In addition to the insightful discussions, I also help women achieve emotional mastery through artistic expression. Some of the episodes will have supplemental artistic exercises. Please be sure to visit my YouTube channel of the same title. Let's immerse ourselves in today's episode and embrace the grace, gratitude, and giggles that await us. Welcome to episode 2 of Grace, Gratitude, and Giggles. And hello, my lovely listeners. I hope everyone is doing amazing. So I have a story to tell about YouTube Shorts. My son is a multimedia editor, and one night he heard my phone while he was working late. It was around 1 a.m., and he knows I usually go to bed around 10 or 11. I guess I had the volume pretty loud. And he asked, "Mom, you still up?" And I said, "Yes, I can't sleep." He said, "You're watching YouTube?" And I said, "Yes." I mentioned to him that I am considering doing only YouTube shorts for my new channel since I get them a lot in my feed. He asked, "Well, what do you watch the most?" And I said, "Shorts." And he said, "Well, Mom, that's why they're showing up in your feed a lot." He knows my attention span is short, so if the content is long form, then I prefer to listen on a podcast if the YouTuber has one. I usually do this while driving, even for 15 minutes, and then I'll pick up again where I left off the next time I drive. I also listen to podcasts while walking or lying in the sun by the pool. And years ago, I started watching YouTube shorts at night. I was telling my Ayurveda coach about this yesterday. When I was in a deep depression, I knew I needed to feel better quickly. So I turned to YouTube since I had taken a break from social media. YouTube, as you know, is a search engine. So I started searching for funny things to watch. There's this one channel where the host does these hilarious voiceovers on other people's animal videos. I also watch another guy who imitates himself and his wife, highlighting the humorous behaviors between couples. And these videos really make me laugh at night, especially when I'm feeling low or having trouble sleeping. However, I was discussing this with my Ayurveda coach because I realized it's become a bit of a habit. Sometimes I watch until my phone literally hits me on the head, which means, of course, I'm falling asleep. And she explained that while it's okay to watch the shorts, I shouldn't make it the last thing I do before bed. Instead, she suggested finding like 10 minutes of downtime between finishing the shorts and actually going to bed to help me unwind from the screen. And I thought, what type of ritual can I create within these 10 minutes? My first thought was to use these podcasts that help you sleep by telling bedtime stories, or to use the Calm app to listen to soothing content as I fall asleep. However, I remembered my coach's advice, no phone before bed. So I decided to do a 10-minute evening stretch before going to bed. So this will help me calm down. In addition, I'll do a 5-minute bedtime sleep meditation that I used to do years ago. And that makes 15 minutes of relaxing routine, which seems just right. There's this meditation I used to do where I start by focusing on my toes, imagining them floating on a cloud. I make sure that they feel light and airy. From there, I move up, focusing on my feet, ankles, legs, knees, thighs, hips, and so on. I continue this up to my stomach, then shift to my hands, arms, shoulders, chest, back, and neck. I keep going until I reach my head, and then my eyes are last, making my whole body feel like it's floating on a cloud. I don't remember where I learned this meditation from, but I do recall that the person demonstrating it wasn't lying down. However, I've adapted it into my bedtime routine because it helps me fall asleep. So this is the new ritual I'm designing to bridge the gap between screen time and bedtime. I believe that by doing this, I might not need to watch YouTube shorts at night anymore. Although I do enjoy them, it doesn't mean I need to see them before going to bed. So today we're going to discuss the difference between emotional states and singular emotions. And I know you probably felt overwhelmed at some time in your life by a mix of emotions and wondered what was going on. So yeah, you're not alone. Emotions are complex, and understanding them can be the key to navigating our emotional landscapes with more grace and resilience. So I'm going to get nerdy for a few minutes. Let's start by defining two important concepts: singular emotions and emotional states. It's important for you to understand the difference, so I'm going to throw out some scientific information, so bear with me. Singular emotions are relatively brief, intense reactions to specific events or stimuli. They're straightforward, one-dimensional feelings that arise quickly and subside just as fast. For instance, you might feel a burst of joy when you receive a compliment or a flash of anger when someone cuts you off in traffic. These emotions are tied to particular incidents and are usually short-lived. Now, on the other hand, emotional states are more prolonged and complex. They encompass a range of emotions that states affect our overall mood, behavior, and well-being. And from a neuroscience perspective, our brain's limbic system, which includes structures like the amygdala and hippocampus, plays a crucial role in processing emotions. Okay, so what is the amygdala? So imagine your brain is like a big control center that helps you think, feel, and make decisions. Inside this control center, there's a tiny part called the amygdala. It's shaped like an almond, and you have two of them, one on each side of your brain. The amygdala is super important because it's like your brain's alarm system. When something happens that makes you feel scared, angry, happy, or excited, the amygdala sends out signals to the rest of your brain and body. It's really good at noticing things that might be dangerous, like a loud noise or a big scary dog. So when you hear a loud noise, your amygdala might make your heart beat faster and get you ready to run away if you need to. It helps you react quickly to things around you. It's also like involved in remembering things that have strong emotions, like the excitement of your birthday party or the fear of falling off a bike. In short, the amygdala is like a little superhero in your brain that helps you feel emotions and stay safe. Now, your brain is like a big library that stores all this information you learn and all the memories you make. Inside this library, there's a special helper called the hippocampus. In case you didn't know, the genus name of a seahorse is the hippocampus. It's named after the seahorse because it's shaped a bit like one. The hippocampus is like the librarian of your brain. It helps you remember things like what you had for breakfast, the name of your best friend, or the fun vacation you went on last summer. And when you learn something new, the hippocampus helps you save that information so you can find it later. If you think of your memories as books, the hippocampus is really good at organizing and finding the right books when you need them. It helps you remember facts, experiences, and even helps you find your way around places, like remembering how to get to your friend's house. In short, the hippocampus is a cool part of your brain that helps you store and find all your important memories and information. Okay, so back to the explanation of singular emotions and emotional states. When we experience a singular emotion, the amygdala responds quickly to the stimuli, triggering an immediate emotional reaction. This process involves the release of neurotransmitters like dopamine for joy or adrenaline for anger, resulting in a swift but temporary emotional response. Emotional states, however, engage more extensive neural networks. For instance, prolonged sadness and depression involves not only the limbic system, but also the prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for higher order thinking and regulation of emotions. This interaction can lead to a sustained emotional experience, influencing our thoughts, behaviors, and physical health over time. So I'm going to provide you with examples of emotional states and their components. So grief can involve sadness, anger, guilt, loneliness, confusion. Next is depression. Most don't realize that depression is an emotional state. A couple of years after my loss, I spiraled into a depression state along with my grief. Depression is sneaky, subtle, and stealthy. Depression can develop gradually and unnoticed, often creeping into a person's life in a way that is not immediately apparent. The subtle onset can make it challenging to recognize and address, highlighting the importance of awareness and proactive mental health care. It wasn't until about 2 or 3 years later that I realized what was happening. I made drastic changes in my life to escape the depression. I was literally fighting for my life. Now, you can be in a multi-emotional state where you experience grief and depression simultaneously. Emotions and emotional states often overlap, especially in response to significant life events. It's common for grief to trigger or coexist with depression, especially if the loss is profound or if the individual has a predisposition to depressive disorders. The interplay between these emotional states can make the experience particularly challenging, as each can intensify the other, leading to a more complex emotional landscape. Depression is a more pervasive and persistent state that includes feelings of sadness, hopelessness, guilt, worthlessness, anxiety. Now, anger can be a singular emotion or an emotional state. It includes frustration, resentment, hostility, impatience, irritability, among other emotions. Sadness can also be singular emotion or an emotional state. And it can include emotions of disappointment, loneliness, regret, helplessness, and apathy. Understanding that emotional states are composed of multiple emotions allows us to better navigate them. Here are some strategies to help you manage these complex emotional states. One is you can identify components. Take time to reflect and name the different emotions that make up your emotional state. You know you are in this emotional state when it starts to affect your everyday life. Next is understanding your triggers. Recognize the events or thoughts that trigger these emotions. Number 3 is expressing yourself. Talk about your feelings with someone who you trust, someone you know that won't judge or dismiss you. Journaling can help gain clarity and perspective. There's thinking in the inking, as a good friend once told me. You can use art, music, or other creative outlets to express complex emotions. And this is called artistic expressions. You can practice mindfulness to stay present and observe your emotions without judgment. Mindfulness can actually reduce activity in the amygdala, lowering stress and promoting emotional regulation. Engage in activities that nurture your physical and emotional well-being. Activities like walking can increase the production of endorphins, improving mood and reducing stress. Regular physical activity can help release built-up tension. Exercise increases blood flow to the brain and stimulates the release of neurotransmitters like serotonin, You can practice relaxation techniques such as deep breathing, meditation, or yoga. These practices promote relaxation and reduce the physiological effects of stress. So let me share something with you. I watch Disney movies all the time, and I proudly identify as a Disney adult. Now, don't judge me, but there have been times when my son has caught me watching the Goofy movie on repeat. And I sometimes dance like no one's watching. And honestly, I don't even care if anyone is watching because dancing helps me release endorphins, which are natural mood lifters. I do whatever it takes to get me from the mood I don't want to feel to the mood that I want to feel. And as you already know, I also watch YouTube shorts that make me laugh. So I noticed on one of the YouTube channels I frequent that several commenters mentioned feeling much better after watching because they were battling depression. And how deep is that? So you can create or schedule your own events or rituals to boost your mood. These events can be small, like watching a funny YouTube short before bed, or not, or something bigger like hosting a gathering with friends. Just make sure to invite someone who always brings laughter and joy to the group. We now can better understand and manage our emotional experiences. And this understanding allows for more effective coping strategies and a healthier emotional balance. So remember, understanding and managing your emotions is a journey, and you don't have to walk it alone. At times, it might be necessary to step back from the chaos and find solitude. However, it's also essential to remember that as social beings, we also flourish within communities and relationships. Balancing moments of withdrawal with meaningful connections can provide the support and strength needed to navigate your emotional journey. I hope this episode has provided you with valuable insights into the complexity of our emotions and how to navigate them with grace. So, my beautiful friends, this is the end of the episode. Have a wonderful day. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Grace, Gratitude, and Giggles. I hope today's conversation has inspired you to embrace compassion, thankfulness, and joy in your everyday life. Remember, every moment is an opportunity for growth and transformation. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who might benefit from this message.